This is the video guide for Chapter 1 of Outliers, the Matthew Effect. Chapter 1 starts out in Canada. Or to be more specific, the national sport of Canada, hockey. For Canadians, hockey is like football and baseball for Americans. Just like we have Little League Baseball or Pop Warner Football, they have youth hockey leagues. Gladwell is going to look at how these youth hockey leagues work and find some surprising things out about them. He'll discuss why some kids are bigger and better in these hockey leagues and how the kids that are bigger and better get picked for the all-star hockey teams and how these all-star hockey teams are where they get teens for their club hockey teams, which work like AAU basketball teams work, and how those club teams are where we get National Hockey League draft picks. The biggest and best kids on day one of their first youth hockey game usually end up being the most likely to go pro. In fact, he'll actually talk about the youth hockey team that both Jordan Benfield, pictured here, and Shane Brown, pictured here, played for, the Medicine Hat Tigers. Gladwell will attempt to explain why this happens. You'll need to read some on your own before class. So for homework, after you watch this video, you need to read sections 1, 2, and 3 of the first chapter. In most of your books, that will be pages 15 through 24. You'll also need to complete the corresponding parts of the reading guide. You need to have this done before you enter our next class. Because in class, we'll pick up together with sections 4, 5, and 6 of Chapter 1, pages 24 through 34, and we'll complete together the corresponding parts of the reading guide. Before you read, you'll want to make sure you know the following strategies. If you need to do some research, review strategy notes, or watch lesson videos as a refresher, make sure you do this before you read for homework. In this chapter, you're going to encounter rhetorical questions, thesis statements, which we can also look at as main ideas, force teaming, allusion, both biblical, historical, and pop culture, metaphor, the strategy of directly addressing the audience, and footnotes. You need to know the purpose of footnotes and how they're used. Knowing these things will be vital to completing our reading guide. And don't forget, you've got things to do while you read too. You need to first think about the rhetorical triangle in Writer's Craft. Also, complete the reading guide that goes along with the pages you're reading. Use a dictionary or dictionary.com to find the meaning of words you don't know. It's the best way to expand your vocabulary. And finally, you need to be still thinking about the argument that Gladwell is making and what kind of evidence he uses to support it. For each class period, when we're done reading Chapter 1, we'll take an informal poll of all our AP student birthdays. We'll try to see if there's any patterns that emerge and show if there's a special birth date bias for taking AP English. I'm going to ask you to plot your birthday on a timeline on the front board. We'll see if any patterns emerge like they did for the all-star hockey teams that Gladwell showed us. Remember, before we read sections 4, 5, and 6 of Chapter 1 in class tomorrow, you'll have to read sections 1, 2, and 3 and complete the reading guide on your own. After we finish Chapter 1 in class together, you'll need to watch the video for Chapter 2 and then read sections 1, 2, and 3 of Chapter 2, which ends up being pages 35 through 46. For each section, you need to identify one rhetorical strategy Gladwell is using and record it in your strategy log. We'll have more details and instructions for that assignment when you see the Chapter 2 lesson video. So once we've completed Chapter 1 in class, you'll need to go watch that Chapter 2 lesson video and get prepared for your homework there. This concludes our guide for Chapter 1 of Outliers.